Get your smile on. What's up, everybody? Says we have 2 people, so I think it's legit. It's 3 people, so we're going up by the second.
All right.
All right. I just made a comment on our post about this that tonight is. Look at Laurie drinking world's best boss mug. How appropriate. I made a comment that tonight's live is going to be like going to a parent-teacher conference.
I hope not. Those aren't usually, well, depending on who you are, I guess. Could be good or could be bad.
Did you ever go to yours?
I'm sure we did.
Oh, I went to mine.
And they probably were all good. Except for maybe 10th grade. That was a little rough year.
Yeah. 9th and 10th, I remember I went. It was pretty bad. I was saying all the right things, nodding. Okay, I'll start to study more. And then I think it was my junior year. My parents were like, I was getting C's like and everything. They're like, you're going to parents teacher conference, and I locked myself in my brother's room. Did I ever tell you that?
Oh my gosh, no!
Oh my gosh, it was bad.
Gosh.
It was
Why
so
didn't
bad.
you lock yourself in your room?
Because I didn't have a lock on my room.
Oh.
So I went into his room and locked the door, and it was bad. I fell asleep in there. My brother was working late. He came home at like 2:00. And it was a disaster. All right. So let's get into this parent-teacher conference night. Would you
hopefully
like
it won't be that bad.
Okay. Would you like to talk about what this is all about?
Yes, sure. So, essentially, for those who have gone to the eBay Opens in the past, there was this really cool thing that they offered, and they called it Biz Boost. And it was a 15-minute session where you got to sit down with an eBay representative, and they reviewed this really cool report that had a lot of information on it that you couldn't get otherwise. Not information that's on any of the seller dashboards or Seller Hub or anything like that. And it was really insightful information because it gave you a complete snapshot of your business, not just, the usual metrics that you see. So, we recently had the opportunity to talk again with the same department that does these Biz Boosts, and they provided one for each of our accounts. And so we just wanted to share kind of like what that looks like, how it might help you, what we're going to do to boost our businesses. Because if you've heard us talk for the last couple of weeks, our eBay business has, steadily gone down. A lot of people have had the same experience. And so obviously, we want to try to get that going back up. So, that's basically what it is. And so I was just going to go over it kind of in depth. Hopefully nobody's eyes will glaze over. And they do, just let me know. Change topics.
Is it up to me to add this?
Oh, did we take it out?
Oh, it's not playing.
Oh, no?
Didn't play.
Oh.
Anyway. Your little guy.
Yeah, it is up to you. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on, I just had to refresh it here.
Nerd alert!
Okay. So if we get a little crazy.
Yeah, just just throw that out there.
Is this kind of like the Gong Show? I'm dating myself, but this is like the Gong Show. I'm going to pull this up.
Nerd alert!
And just, it's a compliment to you, but it's kind of like slow down, back up.
I know.
Back pedal.
Okay, you want me to get into this or what?
It's all yours.
Okay. I got to move my screen over, otherwise I can't see anything. All right, so I'm bringing up here. This is the report for one of our accounts. And I'm going to look at it here. Okay, so essentially what this does is it shows a year-over-year overview of our gross, they call it GMV. And if you know eBay, they love acronyms. So gross GMV stands for gross merchandise value, which I was told actually does not include shipping. So if you are a seller that likes to add a lot of shipping onto your sales, this doesn't include that. So it's a little bit not accurate,
Good to
but
know.
good enough, you know. So anyway, it shows 2 years ago. The green line is 2 years ago. The red line is 1 year ago, and this is the same time frame. So he ran this for like literally a year prior to when we talked, I believe. So this was a year ago. So the red line was 1 year ago, and then the blue line is the current year. And so as you can see, you know, 2 years ago we were pretty. I mean, we were, you know, kind of growing, going up. By the end of the year, we ended up probably, you know, about the same place, a little higher than we started. Last year, obviously, was crazy. You can see the how it was, you know, kind of went up a lot and then stayed up, kind of. And then this year, as you can see, it kind of trending downwards. I mean, if these were not points, you know, you would, if you could just like go from one to the end, you would probably see a line like this, you know, a kind of like a more curve, and then the other one would have gone straight up. So, so yeah, and so then down here it shows you what it actually was in dollar value, and it tells you how many items you've sold. As you can see, last year was a banner year for us and probably a lot of other resellers. Um, that was our best year ever, but you know, we all know why that probably was. As you can see, it was up 52% from the year before. And then this year it says it's down 13%. I would have thought it was more, but this is actually just one of our accounts. So we have to take into consideration both of them. So the other interesting thing that this shows is how many purchases are made from the the computer site versus mobile. And you would have thought that, you know, everybody assumes everybody buys everything on the phone, but in our case, it's almost 50-50. Only a little bit
Wow.
more higher on this account now. The other account, I don't know what it is, but we'll have to look at that one.
Did he
What?
share what other accounts are typically? Did he mention anything about that? Like,
No, he didn't say what typical. I can show you. Can you see yours here? Just switching over to yours real quick. Yours is the same. Can you see it or no? It's no. Oh, I didn't share it. Never mind. I have to share it individually. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what that is, and that has a lot to do with your clientele, the types of clients, your like the demographics of your clients, and what you sell. So I would venture to guess that this is maybe atypical. I'm not really sure, but for us, it's half and half. So that's good to know. The report can. Did you want to say something?
No,
Oh,
that's interesting because I've always been under the impression that 80% of sales are coming through mobile nowadays. I heard that recently, but that's interesting to see. Could that have anything to do with our listings, or you're not sure about that?
no, I don't think it has anything to do with our listings. I think it has to do with who buys what, who buys our stuff, what kind of people demographically um, tend to buy the things that we sell. And it just so happens that practically half the people will use the phone, half the people will use the computer. Now, if we were selling something that was super, I don't know, younger generation, like focused, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe those numbers would be different. And I don't doubt that what you said is true because that's an overall number. That's not going to be specifically for each seller. So it really, and this is why this report is like really cool. The next thing it goes into is service metrics, which is something that, you know, not everybody pays attention to a lot. Thankfully, in our consumer electronics, on Cavemen, we were a little bit below average, or definitely considered average for our service metrics, which is great considering we sell used electronics. I'm always worried about this one. And then they go through your performance with your defect rate and the last 6 months of your history in terms of your performance level. As you can see here, this account is absolutely perfect,
Now, what
which is
what is
not
what
unusual.
is that? Where it says last 6 months, it says TRS. What does that mean?
That's top rated seller.
Oh, okay.
That's your that's like would say if you were above standard, below standard, or top rated.
Hmm.
So for the last 6 months, we've been we've been top rated like the last 4 years or 5 years. I forget exactly how long it's been, but it's been like, ever since we hit it. I don't think we ever lost it on these two accounts, and it's been a long time ago.
Did he
So
share anything about that? Like, oh, top rated seller, that's excellent because that allowed you to get this. Did he get into that or
no,
not
we
really?
didn't talk about that. I mean, to be honest, we were talking about a lot of more higher level things, like or nitty gritty things. It goes without saying that being top rated seller is something you want to strive for and helps you overall as an eBay seller. So you definitely want to strive for it, and you don't want to lose it once you get it. And you definitely don't want to go down to below standard if you're already at above standard. So that's even more important. So, but yeah, it's very important. I mean, eBay. I mean, this right here is basically the heart of your account. I think, you know what I mean. This is what they're going to determine whether you get to keep selling on eBay or not. So this is very important.
So the top one, defect rate,
Uh-huh.
that's on your account, right?
Yeah, that's
So okay,
correct.
0.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I should pull up mine.
I can bring up yours next if you want.
Okay. Because I thought I had an issue. Like I
You,
had like a defect of some sort.
you did that you should have gotten appealed that you didn't get appealed, and
Mm,
so it's there.
which
Yeah.
means it'll disappear after 3 months of when it came on because we do high volume.
Well, if as long as we continue to do high volume, yes.
That's right.
We have to be a little careful because of that, because our volume has gone down so much.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, we have to be careful. I'll just show you. I'm switching over to yours. I forgot I had to actually pick this one. You can see yours now, right?
That's before we get into mine, that's interesting because we talked about that on episode 7, how volume determines how long those defects stay on your account. Correct?
Yes, that is
Okay.
correct.
So
you have to do at least 400 per quarter.
okay, so every 3 months you have to sell over 300
Maybe
items.
400. I thought it was
400. Okay, yeah. Interesting because with everybody's sales like being slow or cut in half, there's a lot of people that probably were like, oh, 12-month look back, no big deal, that were teetering. Maybe they were at 450 and now they're at 350 or less, and they get a defect.
Stays
That's
on
gonna
there
stay.
for a year. That's a long time.
How about this though? If like you drop down, let's just say you're at 350, is it kind of like a rolling 3 months? Like, and then you do have
Yes.
a great month and it pops you back over
Well,
400?
yes, but it has to be 400 for the average of the last 3 months.
Okay.
So I don't know if like 1 month you go over 400, now all of a sudden you're back to the 3 month.
Okay.
I think it's like, it must be 1,200 over 3 months.
Yeah.
Like they're going to look back over the last 3 months. And if you've averaged 400, at least 400, if you've hit at least 400 a month, then we've never had to worry about that before. So I don't honestly have that answer.
We should know. Yeah, we should revisit that because 400 sales a month. I think it's 400 sales a quarter. I thought. I don't know. 400 sales a month is 10 a day.
I know. I remember because we were now. You know what? Let's revisit that because I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
Because you know what it is also in my mind, we've got the 2 accounts, and so I always have to think of it in that light.
Right.
So, and I mean because I track everything combined, I might not be remembering exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Scrap that. All right. Sorry to bring that up. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, so going back to you still see yours, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And the one thing I forgot to mention is they also tell you what your historical for the year to date ASP is. So as you can see, yours is 59, mine was 45. Okay. So that's where we get the average of about 50. And the same thing here with the charts and the colors, the site versus mobile, same thing. Now see, and thankfully your service metrics are pretty good here too, which honestly I'm always surprised about in this category. But
why?
Because we sell used electronics, and it seems like 7, 8 out of our returns are always doesn't work. And sometimes it's not our fault. sometimes it is. Like, we didn't know if it worked or not, we just can't tell all
Mhm.
the time. But anyway, your performance, this is not as perfect as mine. I do remember there was one thing that I forget what the deal was with the late shipping. This case without resolution is the only defect that you have. That's the one you were
Mhm.
talking about,
Mhm.
that you probably could have gotten appealed, but you just didn't do it. And, if we had a 12-month look back, you better believe we'd appeal that one. That's so important because
Right.
you can't afford to have too many. So,
Totally.
yeah. So going down, looks very similar to mine. On the other one, we'll go through yours. This is an interesting thing. The listing details, what your inventory looks like. That tells you how many items you have promoted. We have promoted everything 100%. It says international shipping percentage. I guess that's probably GSP. It doesn't mean that 98% of our stuff goes GSP. It's just 98% of our listings could go
Are
GSP or
are
international.
are eligible, right?
Right. And it looks like this 23,000 and change might have been the last 12 months of GSP, which was probably at least 5 or
Yeah.
6, 7% of the total. So, yeah, this is the other thing over here, the stated handling. This shows your stated handling versus actual handling. You always want this number to be less than this number. So we state that we will ship everything within 1 business day. This means that a lot of our stuff goes out less than 1 business day, which is always what you want to do if possible. This shows how many things we have on free returns and how many things we have free shipping. I'm surprised only 60% of actually I'm not on yours. I wonder what it is on mine. Because your account tends to have more of the bigger things. So free shipping on yours doesn't surprise me to be this low.
So
But
back
free
to
returns,
yeah,
sorry,
no,
go ahead.
back to the handling real quick. Like, so
Mhm.
we're stating same business 1 business day, but it's under because we're shipping out sometimes the same business day.
Yes, because
Okay.
we ship in the morning, whatever's sitting there waiting to be shipped. And now, yeah, that's the way it is now. Wasn't always like that. When we used to have 2 shipping shifts, that was probably closer to 1 because we would ship out every single thing that had to go 24 hours in the morning. And then in the afternoon, we would ship out everything else. And they wouldn't go out until the next day. So it was
Okay.
probably more consistently 1 day. But now, since we only have 1 shipping shift, everything that's sitting there that has to ship goes out that morning. So very often stuff will go out same day. That's why that number is less than 1.
Okay. Neat.
So yeah, you never want it to be the other way around. That's for sure, because then you've got some problems. So yeah, so the free shipping percentage here, or the free returns, that was interesting because we made it a policy not to have any free returns. So there's about 12% of your listings here, and I think mine's pretty much the same, that still have free returns, which means they're probably old listings that haven't been updated. We need to kind of look at it, but it's frustrating because eBay doesn't have an easy way to find those. I do not believe
Oh.
on the active listings you can look to see which ones have free shipping or free returns and which don't. So it's a little, that has to be done during inventory management. So,
Which we do once every, like, a rolling 30
well,
days.
we were trying to do it every day and relist anything that was ending in the next day. But as I'll explain after talking to and going over this report, probably going to change the way we do that. So, and that's what, let's see, where does it, I think I'm going to go into that spot here. So this just gives a category synopsis of what the change of the top 3, like, see, these are the top 3 categories on your account based on gross merchandise value. And then it shows the increase. So over the year. And then the same thing for traffic. So it's, and you always want to, these are this is so nitty gritty, but you always want to keep track of your conversion rate because a conversion rate means sales. So, but click-through rate's important too. And then before that's impressions, and then the click-through rate, because if people don't click through your items, they can't buy it. So, And ours, I think that's actually kind of increased over time because I think ours used to be a little less than one. Um, so yeah, so that's interesting. Here they talk about listing optimization. But if you're using, enough characters in the title, because you always want to max out to about, I think it's the green area here, 61 to 80 characters is the ideal. You're right here with 72. So that
Hmm.
means that you'll have good titles, and good titles are helpful for search results and helpful for item specifics. So if this report had you in the red, you need to work on your titles. Oh, this is the big thing that I came from our conversation. See this stagnant listings and the stale listings? A definition of stagnant listing is anything that has been listed for 90 days or more. And I believe the stale listings, if my notes are correct, are 60 days and more. So so this is showing us that 94% of our listings on your account were either stale or stagnant. That's not good. And he said this would be the biggest, quickest, easiest, quickest thing we could do to improve our sales. So that's what we have to keep an eye on. It's not necessarily relisting everything that is going to end in 30 days. It's keeping a track on what this percentage is of your overall total listings.
So what did he say to do? Like, how do you fix it?
Well, we had a conversation about relisting versus self-similar. And it was very interesting because, there's a big school of thought about that, and you have different people saying different things. But he claimed that relisting is better for search results. And I thought that was interesting because I thought a self-similar would be better because eBay would then see that as a brand new listing versus just relisting an existing listing. And when I told him my logic, he's like, you know what? I'm going to double check on that. But it's his understanding that self-similar can sometimes mess up item specifics. I did not know that. But what's interesting about this is we used to, as a rule, relist on a regular basis, trying to do the 30-day thing as much as we could. And we did pretty well. Things were, we had no complaints. Could that have been due to other circumstances? Perhaps. But we have been lax in this area. I told him that because it used to be somebody else's responsibility, and then it got back onto me. And since I'm got a million things to do all the time, it's kind of went by the wayside certain days. So it did get overlooked and get not the attention that it should have. So yeah. So this is something that's very important. So the whole listed and forget it, I don't know. Not when it comes to non-multi-quantity listings. I really can't say that would really be true based on my conversation with him. So because eBay is really going to favor newer listings, active accounts, and if your listings are really, really stagnant, they're not going to want to put those really high in search because they're like, if so, nobody has bought this in 120 days. Why are we going to put it at the top of search? Makes no sense.
Yeah, like
So
the talk nowadays, the buzz is just bulk delist, relist all the time. And I know
well,
Vendu has that ability with
right.
the bulk delist, relist. So my question is, like, is that just as effective if somebody does it that way?
I think so.
Okay.
That's what I'm gathering. And since I wasn't sure before we talked to this eBay rep, I had started doing a manual relist, sell similar process, which I thought, well, maybe that's it. Maybe these people are correct. We're wrong, But that is very time consuming, and we have too many listings for that. So so I'm going to go back to bulk relisting. Now, that's not to say that, taking the opportunity at that time to make sure your titles are the best, to make sure your pricing is right, to make sure everything is good, you should do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But you just can't do that with 4,000 listings all the time. So so you got to do what you can do. So continuing down, the policy, this is the last part of this report, is always interesting to me because I'm always, the rule follower. This is about their policy overview. How many times, I don't know what this item location misrep. I guess that's misrepresenting the location of your item. I didn't even know that was a thing. We apparently never did that. Selling off eBay, that's a huge no-no. They have none marked for that, which is good. Giving out contact info, that's weird because there was a time where eBay wanted us to give out phone numbers. So I don't know where that landed, but apparently that's still a thing here. Veros. Now, I guess this is probably only 12 months old, so I'm sure we've had a Vero in the past, but not maybe in the last 12 months. Listing practices, we're usually never a problem there because we know, a listing is supposed to look like. Duplicates, we don't really have issues with that either based on our process. Search and browse, I'm not really sure what that is actually. But now prohibited items, I know we have issues with because eBay changes their rules all the time. So, and the biggest issue we have with that are medical devices because what that can constitute is always changing, and it's very frustrating. So that's what that probably is. So, so that is that is the report in a nutshell.
Yeah, back to the prohibited items. Can you
Mhm. Yeah.
what are some of those items? Prescription?
Definitely anything that requires a prescription. Now, that is such a gray area. And the reason why it's a gray area is because there are some things, like there are some machines that require prescription, but then there are accessories to that machine that don't. Now, eBay is taking the hard stance on a lot of this stuff that even if technically that one thing, the accessory doesn't require prescription, if it's associated with something that does, they're going to consider it a medical devices policy and they're not going to want you to list it. They're really getting strict on that. I mean, there was a time back when the big, like an example is CPAP machines. Now you can't sell the CPAP machine, right? And you can't sell the entire mask. But you could sell replacement parts for those machines, and we would sell them all day long if we found them. They were new. We weren't selling them used. I mean, that would be kind of gross. But we recently found out that, oh no, you can't sell those anymore either. But like, no, eBay never told us that. Like nobody ever says, oh, we're changing the policy to make it more strict. And so we got dinged for a couple of those one time. So now, you know what? It's just not even worth it. It really isn't worth it.
Yeah, well, I made an Instagram story yesterday. How I overlooked something. I was processing this item that would have sold for $60, and I scrutinized it, and sure enough, I found RX only, tiny on it, and it's a good
Yep.
thing.
Yeah.
So if that sticker wasn't on it, RX only, I could have listed it innocently. I would have
Yeah.
check it out. I would have gone into sold listings, and this is what I shared on the Instagram story, all because you see a current or a completed or sales history of it on eBay doesn't mean it's allowed. So
Correct.
my thing is like, come on, eBay, like at least kind of help us out. Either flag it immediately and say, hey, you can't do this. This is on our list, which you would think it would be somewhere. If if they have automation, you would think they could identify
They
it before you submit the listing.
they do that for some things. That's true. We used to sell breast pumps like they were going out of style. And they were just the motors. They weren't anything other, they were just the motors.
Oh yeah.
And then now we can't sell those either. They have to actually, technically you can, but they have to be medical grade or like they have to be made for multiple people. And there are so few of those,
Yeah.
even models, that it's hard, and those don't go through the bin. So, yeah, it's just easier not to bother. I would much rather expand and like pick another category that we don't sell in right now and start building that up and replace that with the medical things. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's also what I shared on Instagram. It's like we're going to start branching out into other categories because we have to, because we're losing some core products that we used to sell.
That's
and
correct.
we used to get like $1,000 a month from, and we're losing them. So yeah, branching off.
Yeah, and it's not even because of the devices, the policy. Some things just aren't as valuable anymore, and we have criteria. Because we have such overhead. Like a perfect example are Apple TVs. Like they used to go for a lot more, and stuff like. I mean, that is to be expected though, because something like that they're creating newer versions, and the newer versions that come out, the older versions become less valuable.
Yep.
And so
Yeah, we shared that. I think it was last week or the week before that we used to sell Apple TVs for $45 last year.
almost $50.
And
Yeah.
this is the first generation ones. And, the thicker ones came out and stuff or whatever, don't quote me on that. But, but we stopped because now they sell for like $13, $15. So I actually lotted a bunch up and I sold a lot on my account.
Oh, really? How many?
I think it was like 12 or 15 and
Oh, wow.
all in with shipping, it was just under 100. So
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
that's not bad. It's like $10 each. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
No, wait, am I doing the math right?
I don't know.
No, it's $8, $7.
Oh,
It was $7 each. Yeah. So
right,
it was
okay.
it was a good deal for somebody who wanted a bunch of these, like,
I wonder what they're going to do with them.
I don't know. Just like think about it, like a hotel or something I don't even know. Like somebody who wants a bunch of these little pucks, they're out there.
Yeah. Well, if you ever get the fourth generation, those are worth something.
Oh, yeah.
The bigger ones.
So so we're just kind of trying to replace what we're losing because we definitely have some. Now I don't know what you've done the last couple days or since you spoke to him last week, but I noticed like on my account there's been an increase in sales. I don't know.
I took his advice and I went through all of our listings on both accounts and made sure that there were no listings that had started earlier than October.
Okay. What does that mean?
That means no listing was older than about a month and a half.
So you ended everything and
relisted in bulk 200 at a time. And didn't make a lot of changes to the because I was doing so many. Didn't make a lot of changes to the titles or prices or anything. Oh, what I did notice though was that every single time I did that, there were at least 2 listings that had required item specifics that weren't there.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when something gets because they have been adding required item specifics over time. So if you had a listing from like last year, it just kept getting automatically relisted, and you didn't have those item specifics in there, they just stayed like that. Now, if you end it and you try to relist it, now it's going to say, oh no, you can't relist this until you add these item specifics. I have no idea how much that could cause our account to be affected, but it probably did affect those listings, not that there were a ton of them. But that's something to be aware of because if you don't do that on a regular basis, you could miss that opportunity.
Nerd alert!
Oh my gosh, how did that guy get in there? What happened?
I'll stop now. You can do your
No, you are amazing. I wrote down, be with the audience, just be honest here. How many times I looked up the song, it's Leanne Rimes, How Do I Live Without You? except I don't, every once in a while I go, what would I do without you? But I never knew it was How Do I Live Without You. But
you thought that was the name of the song?
I knew it was something like that, but I wrote it down. I looked it up. It's the truth. I mean, you're into this and you're massaging how to, I don't know what you want to call it, but you're making stuff happen where a lot, I would say the majority of resellers out there, there's no doubt you're like you're rare eBay seller who loves this kind of stuff. I'm not saying that there's other people, you're the only one that does it.
I would agree with that because I'm not the sorcerer in this relationship.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Because, that's what we always talk about. It's like, as a reseller, you can't be everything. You're going to lack in your listings. You're going to lack in your photography. Like a good friend of ours has been saying for years, I need to get a photo booth like you guys. We know who he is, Mr. LN.
We won't see.
He's watching, he knows, but he's always like, I need to get better lighting. That was like 5 years, but it just, he's not, that's what you can't do it all. But he, like, for example, he knows, I'm not going to say a lot about whatever. he knows enough to really have his account. And he's been doing it for 20 plus years. But you are more into the weeds with the policies and stuff like that. That's why when he comes here, we're just like, we brainstorm with you and he's like, never knew that, or thanks, I'll try that. And I was never like that. And then like sourcing does nothing for you. Like
Not like it does for you. That's for sure.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, that's for sure.
So it's kind of interesting because it's like this balance of thinking a reseller has to have it all, every quality. It's rare.
Well, ideally, yeah, but it's not really feasible, is it?
I don't think so.
No,
I mean,
it's not just, but it's not just resellers. It's any business or any industry. Like doesn't matter what. I mean, you know what I mean? Nobody's perfect in every single aspect of their being. So there's always going to be a weakness that you should recognize and say, how can I make that weakness stronger? Because I can't, like, that is my weakness.
Now back to the Biz Boost thing. You don't have to bring it up on screen, but when was it? Like 2 years ago, we went to eBay Open 2019. And they had a time where you could carve out to go sit with somebody in the Biz Boost area. And they touted it as being like one-on-one evaluation of your account. And this was big. Like people are like, this is huge. We had 2 accounts. So we set them up back to back.
We had
half an hour. Most of the time it's only 15 minutes.
Right.
So we were able to sit down for a half an hour with somebody that went over your report just like that earlier. And I remember they made a comment to you, said, I've never seen an account this clean or whatever. And I think at the time it was almost mysterious. Like, what's eBay's policies? They were going through like a transformation of how they were measuring your metrics and stuff, performance metrics. And I think because you were on top of it, it allowed us to really be like, perfect. Now this go around, did you find anything that jumped out where you're like, I never knew that, or we definitely have to start that? Or were you like, oh, you're right, I need to pay more attention to that?
Well, I knew we were lax in making sure our listings were not stagnant or stale. I knew that. But the way we were doing it was very time consuming and laborious. And so I think that's the reason why it didn't happen. I mean, it's one thing when you have an employee and says this, you say, this is one of your tasks and they have to do it. It's different when it's me and I have a gazillion other things to do. But now that I know that it could just be a matter of percentages versus the way I was doing it. Yeah, all I got to do is every couple weeks take a look at the oldest listings that we have and make sure none of them are more than 40 days old. I mean, that's really not hard.
I have a new business concept.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. I think everyone needs an eBay coach. I'm not saying we or you or whomever, but I was watching Paul Philly Flipper made a post this morning of his, whatever they call it, packages going out. What do they call it?
Yeah, pile?
Something like pickup, shipment, something like that. Monday pickup, or it's like a thing on Instagram. Everybody takes a picture of their Monday, their shipping thing.
Yeah.
There's a name for it, whatever.
I know. You're right.
It's more popular on Poshmark. Everybody's like shipping.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But he had he had a dolly all filled with packages all piled up.
Yeah.
And he says, great sales, but what you don't see is it's 3 a.m. Like he was up until 3 a.m. He goes, this is where like he devoted so much time, like as he's a one man show, even though he has people helping him with the mundane stuff like listing perhaps, but he goes, this is what people just see and say, oh, reselling's easy, I want to try that. And what they don't realize, this is not a 9-to-5 job 5 days a week, not at all.
Right.
And we know that, and we don't even do that. Like, and we have the luxury. When
there was a time we did.
I know, but we would still come in on the weekends and stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
I just think, but it doesn't feel like a chore when you're doing it because you're always learning. There's always something to do. And the reason why I brought up Paul is because he was shipping all that stuff by himself till 3 a.m. And he's trying to do so much. He's on YouTube all the time. He's great with that. But what about like stuff like this, like the wellness or the health of his eBay account? Is he delisting, relisting, and all that stuff, and making sure everything's optimized with the titles?
You know what? Probably not, because I mean, sometimes it's just enough
Yeah,
to
I
find
know.
the stuff, to list the stuff, and to ship the stuff. I mean, that's all that some
and
people can manage.
and you forgot the sourcing the stuff.
But I said find the stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant finding it, like picking,
Oh no,
package.
sorry. I meant
Okay,
I meant
right.
find it, get it.
So yeah, no doubt. I know what I did last week going to the bins, and I was there for 6 hours a day for like 3.5 days, or what? 3 and how do you do that? Okay, like 3 days, whatever. I was gone, and
Yeah.
it was boring. It was a grind, but that's how I source. But then I also went to the flea market and cherry picked a lot of good stuff. So, so awesome, good deal. Anything else you want to share regarding that? Because I have a couple of things I wanted to share, like some mini hauls that I picked up that I thought would be kind of cool to share with the group.
Sure, no, you can. I mean, I think I talked enough.
No,
Unless,
well,
I mean,
well, yeah. Well, why don't we leave it like this? Anyone who is watching now or is watching on the replay, follow us. The best thing to do is just follow us on Instagram. If you're on Instagram at eBliss Reseller.
oh, you got it? Oh.
I'm trying. There we go. At eBliss Reseller. Just follow us, and you have the ability to direct message us, DM us, any question you have regarding reselling. This is what we do. What Laurie and I are chatting about right now is what I would do 24/7 if I didn't have to sleep. But or you shut down. When we go home, you're like, I have to preface everything by saying it's work related, and you're like, what? And I understand you're different. But like, if you have a question, anybody, just DM us on Instagram or leave it in the comments on this. We're not going to really check the comments too often on YouTube, but use Instagram. So let's, I just wanted to share some interesting things like last week. Sourcing. Are you familiar with Google Lens?
I know. I don't think I've ever used it, but I know what it is.
Either have I really, because I've always been like, hey, we source things with model numbers. I just pound the model number in, and if it doesn't come up, I'm not selling it. And we've always been fine. However, had to mute my mic there. I came across this in the bins. Nice little Nakamichi remote. And it says, the only thing it says on there is Nakamichi compact receiver 1. And battery.
So no model number or anything.
No model number, which is so weird because I'm like, they all have something. And this is
Must
what I
be
rely
old.
upon. That's what you would think, right? So and especially Nakamichi, because it's a good brand and usually these go for a decent amount.
Yeah.
So I looked on Instagram. I looked on eBay. I usually look on Instagram for everything, but I looked on eBay and I was just like, oh, Nakamichi compact receiver. Let me see if anything pops up. And then I even did Nakamichi remote, whatever. This thing, and I look at the photos, this was not popping up. And I'm like, I'm not going to just throw this back into the bin. And I was like, I'm going to pursue it a little bit more. So I'm like, I remembered, I'm like, Google Lens. Let me see if that works.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, I took a picture just like this of the front. Some blue dot pops in, and you hit boom, and then the images come up. Now, it doesn't stop right there. Like this popped up, but it doesn't stop right there because I'm like, now I know exactly what it's called. And
what were the results from the Google Lens?
Yeah, a decent amount. Like I would say like five of these popped up.
But they were just photos, or they were listings?
They were listings and or from other sites all over the place. You could imagine.
Oh.
Not eBay. No eBay's. But I figured out what the title of this was. This was whatever. It's like the Sound Station or Sound Series 7 compact, whatever. So I looked and I was doing a search on eBay for it, but nothing was coming up. And I'm like, I'm not going to rely upon eBay's 90-day sales history just to determine a listing. So I looked, I just said, you know what, I'm going to keep it. And I pulled up another version of this. I'm going to share the screen. There we go. I pulled up this. I assume you could see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I pulled up this. Can you see my mouse going like this? No, you can't.
No. Well,
you can see
no,
it here,
I
right?
can. Yes,
Okay.
I can.
All right. So I pulled up, this was a Sound Space 8 remote control.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I have right here is from Sound Space 7. So I'm saying to myself, all right, this Sound Space 7 has got to be the similar price. There's nothing listed. So I used this listing that is sold on November 17th for $37.95 and $4.55 shipping. That's a nice amount for a remote. I used this item right here, and I was going to sell similar. I'm going to pull that off. All right. So I brought up the model, the item number. This is our processing sheet. That was the item number for that last remote. So our lister is going to bring that up, and I told them, hey, replace the 8 with 7, etc. And I just said missing battery cover. What I did was I put batteries in there. So check that out. The batteries were wobbly. I'm like, I don't trust buyers to even put batteries in correctly anymore at times. And it was very difficult because they both went the same way, whatever. It was weird. So I put Gorilla tape on it. It's like perfect, right? So I put new batteries installed, I'm going to ask the same price, $35 plus $6 shipping. But most importantly, I said for the lister to change in the item specifics, change it to Sound Space 7, because in the item specifics, it'll still say the old Sound Space 8. So I don't know. I was encouraged by this. It rarely happens that I source something that I can't find on eBay, but it's worth it.
Right. So when you found out that it was a Sound Space 7, you just searched for that, nothing came up.
No.
What about Terapeak?
Sure. I don't have it on my phone.
Yeah, but when you were processing, wouldn't you use Terapeak when you were Oh, I forgot. You use your phone for processing.
Yeah, you're right.
I would have looked that up on Terapeak. Then it would have given you a better idea if that thing actually is. I mean, the thing about something like that is, that 7 could be completely obsolete.
But somebody's using it.
I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah. I don't know.
You're right. No,
you didn't put a 72 on that, though, did you?
Don't worry about it.
Yes,
I did. 72
oh my gosh, that should not have gotten a 72.
72 is
no way.
The cents.
No.
See that?
Should not have gotten us. There's no way that qualifies for 72.
All right. 35.72. Now we use
the 33.
All right, we use the cents to let it as an indicator if it's going to sell quickly. Or yeah.
Based on the sales history. Right. When you can't even find it and you're using a different model, that doesn't qualify for a 72.
Anyway, anywho, rule follower. I was in a groove. I was processing like crazy yesterday. But what happened was the point is with the Google Lens was at the bins. I don't know. I didn't even know what it was, but
Right.
the Google Lens
That you
helped a
got
lot.
close to it, which is good. I would have just taken another step and looked at therapy because I bet you would have found some more information there on that.
Oh, when processing, definitely.
Yeah. Hi, Grace.
Grace,
Better late than never.
that's fine. And Roman popped in. Hi guys. Hello, Roman. I'm telling you, I love Instagram. Got to meet Grace, who shops at the bins, and I would have never have spoken to her because everybody at the bins is all like,
Oh,
"Don't tell
is
anybody."
that
What?
is that
It's
Gracie
Gracie.
Love?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know her last name. I'm sorry. Her name on
So
YouTube.
she shops at the same bins that I go to, but I'm just like nobody really talks, and she says that's true. We would have never spoken to each other if it wasn't for Instagram and all this stuff. And the same goes for Roman. He was on Paul's when I think it was when we were on with Paul initially. He was there, and I love his posts. Cleveland Brown, Ohio, pretty sure Ohio, yeah, and he does a lot of funny posts, good stuff, and it's neat because I know that if I come across anything Browns related, Cleveland Browns football, he's who I think about. Um, and now Grace, if I come across anything vintage American optical or optic sunglasses, I'm going to reach out to her.
Yeah.
And California Christie is in the house
Christy.
saying hello from Oceanside, California. Hope you're feeling well.
I'm glad we have some people joining us.
Yes.
Yay.
So yeah, go back and watch the beginning. It was a little bit like gritty in terms of our eBay account analysis by the eBay staffer, but I think it's important to realize just don't list it and forget it, and don't neglect your account.
Right.
Things change. Listen to eBay and implement. I think you and I, well, you implement pretty much everything they say except that one thing.
Which one is that?
GTC.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
The
true.
good,
Well, and
good,
also
good,
free shipping
good,
on everything and
yeah,
free returns. Those are the two things.
GTC is good till canceled. Did you want
Right.
to explain that real quick?
Explain the logic behind having
Yes.
something. Well, I mean, as everybody, you probably know, eBay used to have for fixed price listings, you could do 10-day, 30-day, I forget, maybe like
Yeah.
15, I forget. There were a whole bunch of options for good fixed price listings that didn't require you to have them as good till canceled. Somewhere along the line, they said, oh, all fixed price listings are going to all be good till canceled. And personally, I mean, this has never been proven, but my personal thought process on that is that Google requested it because they push all these eBay listings over to Google, and every 30 days they were being ended and relisted, and that was probably a really big drain on their servers and whatnot. So Google probably said, you know what, enough of this. We need to get a listing and just keep it. So that's what eBay did. But unfortunately, for items that are not multiple quantity, for items that are one-offs, good till canceled really doesn't work that well if you literally list it and forget it, because what will happen is your listing will eventually become stagnant in eBay's eyes. Now, that's an actual definition. Anything over 90 days, 90 days. Anything older than 90 days is considered stagnant by eBay. And if you've got a stagnant listing, that listing is not going to get a lot of preferential treatment by eBay. So the whole good till canceled, listed and forget it thing is actually only helpful for multi-quantity listings that you have shown eBay that you have a track record of selling that item over and over. Then they're going to say, oh, this listing works. We're going to push that up in results. So
and it kind of agreed with you last week a little bit, didn't they?
he did. He did.
All right. So there you go. That's impressive. I like that. I want to also follow up before talk about this. Here's another thing. This is just a PlayStation 2. I don't even play video games. Whatever.
2.
2? I don't
That's
even know.
old.
Let me just open it. It's wireless, right?
They're on 5 now.
Dual Shock 2, whatever. You're talking to somebody who played Atari. That's about it. So these I got this at a flea.
I don't think PlayStation 2 had
Okay,
wireless.
3. Oh yeah, right. 2, 3. It's Dual Shock 2. That's what got, or 3. Never mind. But I got this at the flea market for $6, something like that. But the reason I would never get these, but I got it because it was red. Most of them are black and very common. But people love customized the color ones, red, all that stuff. It sells for, I don't know, $29 plus $4 shipping. That's what I put. $33
Not too
for
bad.
this little thing.
Not too
right?
bad considering it's not that heavy to ship.
Yeah, so we like that. I want to get into this one last one. This is why we do what we do, right? Right? You're just supposed to say yeah.
Yeah.
This is why we do what we do.
What is that?
I don't know. I don't know. But
those things. Oh, that's just the controller for the unit, not the unit itself.
Well, this is a Ubiquity Network Unified Cloud Kitchen. Okay, I don't even know what it is, but this was on a Netgear Orbi, ORBI. This was plugged in. Here we go. Look, click, little thing. And this Ethernet was plugged into the back of this Orbi, whatever, router.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bought this from somebody, or I don't even know. It was a bin deal. And so the Orbi thing, the Netgear Orbi sells for 80-ish. But this thing I took off because I was like, what the heck is this? Right. And I looked it up. And sure enough, look at the price. This was just like an accessory or an add-on or something like that. So that's why we love electronics, especially because sometimes there's like add-ons, components that really make it. It's like uncovering value. Like you peel parts off, and so this was 160.
Yeah.
I had
even
no idea.
even though the only reason that one probably caught your eye or you bought it because it doesn't have a really strong sales history, but the one that sold in the last 90 days sold for a lot.
Well, actually, it does have a strong sales history. This was just one. I just picked up the one that I processed. There's a ton, but this is,
never mind.
I don't see this. I don't see these coming through the bins much. So I was like, what the heck is this? And sure enough, now I know. And it's the same thing. Like even on Xbox, those little Xbox, the receivers with the little antennas that go up, those are $30. Like they're on the console, whatever. So I bundled it with a little USB charger cable, brick. I find these all the time. I just stockpile all these. So I loaded it up where now it's a complete. We even had a little SD card, brand new, like I found. So I bundled this up, and I'm at, I ask in $167 plus $10 shipping. So what is it?
Now, if you put, you should make sure that goes on priority mail, even though it can go first class. If somebody's gonna spend that kind of money on something and you're gonna charge them for $10 shipping, it has to be priority mail.
Yeah, but that's an area. Let me bring this.
Yeah. You need that. That's the minutia and the nitty gritty that makes a difference, because that could make a difference from somebody else who's selling that, and they're selling. Where'd you go?
Yeah,
there you are. You could do it just you.
Okay. I can't. Don't worry about it. We're cool. I just want to zoom in a little bit because here's our processing sheet where we do have down below.
Yeah.
Like how we want it shipped.
Right.
I don't even pay attention to that.
Well,
really.
That's an opportunity though, because it could make your item. How many of those are being sold? I don't know. But if you have a lot of competition on something, that could make your item more competitive, especially in the day and age where first class is getting a secondary treatment by the USPS these days. Like if you can send something priority mail, do it.
can you answer this question real quick?
Oh, yeah.
We have 2 minutes left for Grace.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, we are doing. You end them and do relist
Okay.
because the eBay representative that we spoke to mentioned, even though my logic didn't kind of jive with what he said, it was his understanding that sell similar can sometimes mess with the item specifics, so that you do have to be a little bit more careful with them. Even though if you're selling similar your own item, I'm not sure how that would happen, but he said that it could. Not only that, you have to remember to go back and delete that ended listing for a sell similar, which not everybody does. I mean, it's just an extra step.
Mhm.
So especially if you're doing them one-offs, like one here, one there, you could get distracted and forget, and then you sometimes could accidentally relist something you didn't mean to relist.
All right. And one last time for the show. Oh, it's gone.
It's not there?
No, whatever. Oh, well.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are.
Nerd alert!
And once again, that's a compliment, Laura.
I know. I'm the one who created it. I know.
I know that's true. You brought it up today. Oh, gosh. All right. So we're going to end this. And thank you, everyone, for hopping in. It was fun. Go back and watch the replay. We went into detail about like what they said about our account. And if you have any questions, just follow us on Instagram, DM us, and we will get back to you within 3 minutes.
Especially if it's 3 o'clock in the morning and Dave's up.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. People could see if I'm active.
Yeah.
See you guys.
All
See
right.
you,
See you next
Christy. Have
week.
fun. Have a good